Hello and a very good morning from me, Roy Sheppard. We are live on EANM TV from the Vienna Centre. I have to tell you though, things were a little bit quieter this morning on the final day. I think there was an enormous amount of late night partying going on. So we have a much quieter morning, so maybe I'll try and be gentle with you. I think I'm the token man on the show today because all of the contributors are female. We're going to start by talking about the Women's Empowerment Initiative. Been joined by Laura Evangelista, who is also a member of the EANM Translational Molecular Imaging and Therapy Committee, but you're the current leader of the WEI. And I've also been joined by President-elect for EANM as Paola Erba. So good morning to you, Paola.
Good morning, Roy.
You were a little bit quiet this morning. Can you hold the microphone closer to you, please?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
Late
yes,
night?
late party. But how can you avoid joining this young community? It's impossible.
A fantastic vibe here over the last couple of days. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the origins for the WEI. Why was it set up and who set it up? I mean, I know who set it up. Can you tell us?
Women Empowerment is an initiative that was set up by our previous president, Yola. She was really engaged because, as me, we were the only lady in the board of EANM. And so we were many times discussing why it's so difficult for a lady, so why ladies they are not even thinking about being part of the board. So it was a sort of getting to understand that we might do something to make people believe that they can make it exactly as a man.
Exactly as a man. Now that's an interesting subject altogether. What sort of things do you do to encourage women of all ages to become, more involved and engaged?
First, let me say that the women are a special group, but it's not the only one that we are taking care about. Youngers is another group. So I would like people to look to this initiative more as a people empowerment initiative that a specific group. And the lady is a nice trial. We start from there. And what we are doing, we are putting people together. We have a huge volunteer pool where people feel much more free to apply rather than apply for a committee. And again, underlining that when it's without any engagement for a specific task, people is there. So now we want to make the mind shift that just to be just there for fun or to network, you can also do the next step, which is getting part of the association or of your working practice in a different way.
How do you think things have changed since the initiative came into being?
People is starting thinking about that.
People, men and women?
Everybody.
And why do you think that's important for the future of EANM?
Because 70% of people applying to medical students are women.
Well, women, I mean, I've done discussions about this in a number of different medical associations, and the issue is always the same. They quote the 72%. That's across the board, but in terms of the senior levels within the healthcare industry of all disciplines, it's not 72%. It's a much smaller percentage. How can that change?
One way, I think, is through initiative like this, because people can really think that it's normal to apply for such a position. The problem is that ladies are not even considering to apply because of the feeling of being not at the level, not ready for that. But as we discussed many times, you are never ready for something.
Well, it's interesting, because we were chatting before we came on the air, and I recalled a story in one of my sessions a few years ago where a friend of mine was in HR, and she made an interesting observation. She said when there was a senior role being advertised, very few people apply. When there's a medium role, lots of people apply. But she said the interesting thing between men and women is that if there are 10 job requirements and a man looks at the thing, he will say, I've got 4 of those, I'm going to go for that really great job. Whereas women, if they see those 10 and if they haven't got 8 or 9 of those 10, they don't apply because they feel that they're not ready.
I would say we are also searching for the 11th and the 12th. So we really want to prove more than even what is asked. So we push ourselves in the situation that we have to always demonstrate that we are ready for something.
Don't deselect yourself is probably the message, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, Laura, if I can bring you in now. You did a lunchtime talk at the Young Professionals Lounge the other day. What did you talk about? Because I know that a lot of people showed up for it.
Yeah, I have the opportunity to talk in the Lounge Professional Young area. It was a great, incredible because we have had the opportunity to discuss with the younger. And I try to explain how to try the balance between the work and the private life. That is not simple.
Well, you have a private life.
Yeah. Yes. It seems. Yes, I have a good family. I am lucky because I have a great family that supports me every day in my work.
But it is a very difficult challenge for all young professionals, but for women in particular. I have a single friend who's in her 50s, and she's been dating guys, and she says, all the guys say, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. And she says, men don't know what busy is. She said, you know, she runs a business. She's got 2 teenage sons as a single parent, and she's juggling so many different things. So is it really about learning to become a brilliant juggler?
Yeah, absolutely. What we can make for rendering simple our day is obviously to try to have a dynamic priority of our day. It means that we need to be flexible. We need to understand what is the priority in this day, in this period, and modulate our time based on our capabilities.
And not feel guilty that you're not,
Yeah.
because that's the key thing.
Absolutely.
Every woman I know in a professional capacity feels guilty that wherever they are, doing whatever they're doing, they should be doing something else. And when they're doing the something else, they feel guilty that they're not at work or whatever. So this constant juggling.
Yeah, absolutely. With Paola, we have talked so much about the time management that for women probably is very difficult as compared to the men. But we need just to stay, to think, and to prepare a sort of agenda where we can put our priority and to give the time for the work and also for the life.
So what are the main activities of the WEI?
The main activities that we have performed in the past, but now we're moving in the future, is where the first one was the survey. We have launched in November 2021 a survey just to understand and to check what are the main issues relative to be women in nuclear medicine.
Any surprises?
Nothing of specific something, but was about also the involvement in the association. We see that this is an issue for the women, probably because they know very well how the EANM works, how to apply for the EANM. This is the reason because, as previously said by Paola, to engage but also to create some communication and knowledge about the activities of EANM is very important for women, because probably sometimes they don't know very well how it works. And now they are part of the EANM life.
Or how it used to work. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
whole point of what Paola's talking about. You know, it needs to evolve, and it needs to become far more inclusive for all the right reasons, not just for gender reasons.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You've got a round table taking place at 9:45 this morning.
Yes.
Can you tell us why should anybody attend that, whether they're male or female?
Okay, wonderful. We have this opportunity today. We have invited 5 ladies and 2 great moderators, the past and the future, the next elected president in the EANM, so Jolanda Kunikowska and Paola Erba. And we have invited the 5 speakers, 5 different competencies. It means we have 2 nuclear medicine physicians from the past and for the future, and some radiopharmacists and also physicists. So we have also a technician. Therefore, we have tried to invite all the women who will talk about their issue, their potential, everything that can help the community to grow.
Right, this is a simple question, but sometimes when you put people on the spot, it's a difficult question. Where is it? It's at 9:45, and what room is it in? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember what is the name of the room?
Yes, the oldie.
Okay, all right. So I want to come back to Paola. This is really about educating EANM, educating the members. And education, it so happens, is one of your absolute passions, because I've been involved now with EANM on and off for eight or 9 years, and was involved in the launch of ESMIT. So tell me, how does this fit with the broader picture of what education means within EANM?
Yes, Roy, we work together very much and with a long history in ESMIT. ESMIT is one of the 3 pillars of the society, which is the Congress, the education, and the association. And I think also the Congress itself is the place for education, but ESMIT is doing what extending the Congress through all the year. So the Congress is covering 5 days, ESMIT is taking care of people the rest of the year. And the idea that we try to support through ESMIT is that people need to learn more about everything, about the professional, but also about their own education, the soft skill they need to invest in their personal development. And as I said, people development, people empowerment is in a way embedded with education.
It's all within the whole thing, and that was the point that I was getting at. So, look, good luck with your session at 9:45 this morning, and good luck with your forthcoming presidency as well. That's
Thank you.
Fantastic. Lovely to see you today, and enjoy the last day of the Congress.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all your support within EANM.
All right, great, lovely. Well, actually, we all know how huge this event is. There's more than 7,000 delegates, and events like this don't just happen. There's an enormous amount of work that goes on behind the scenes to make it happen. The organization, obviously, the planning of all the sessions, but also a lot of a build to create the physical space. Let's take a brief look right now about what was involved in getting this place ready for EANM 2023. Well, hopefully that gives you a little bit more of an idea of what goes on behind the scenes for the preparation of the EANM Congress. Well, I've been wandering around talking to many people over the last few days and meeting up with a lot of old friends, a lot of people that I've worked with in the past, which has just been a joy. And I think one of the most brilliant things about attending a Congress are the kind of random connections that you make, people that you didn't know shared the same sort of interest or passion that you have. And also you meet people who I've seen on stage in the past. And yesterday I met up with a multi-award winner for her research. And I first met Egesta Lopci, and I asked her why she chose nuclear medicine as her specialism.
Well, it was not actually a direct choice because I had my thesis on pediatric surgery. But at that point in time, I discovered the beauty of imaging. And then I asked to get into the residency in nuclear medicine. And you know what? Sometimes in life, you get that fortune to follow a specific path, which becomes your real passion. So imaging in nuclear medicine became my passion on a professional level.
So what areas of nuclear medicine have captured your imagination over the years?
Now I'm really keen on nuclear oncology and the possibility that we have with amazing radiopharmaceuticals to discover all hallmarks of cancer. So this is really something fascinating, and it's the future of our discipline.
I know you're going to get embarrassed with this, but you have been given so many awards for your work over the years. Why is it, do you think, that the work that you do resonates so much with the community?
Well, I don't know which is the perfect equation for success, but from my personal point of view, you first need to be convinced in what you do. You need to put all your work and passion in what is your aim. And if you do it with honesty and ethics, then the results will come. I myself was astonished by all these awards, but I hope that they are an example for all the young professionals facing nuclear medicine to always keep up with the difficulties and never give up when it comes to reaching their goals.
Did you ever feel intimidated early in your career and thought, well, why would anybody be interested in what I've got to say?
So, Roy, it's a matter of mindset. You know, I didn't feel intimidated. I felt inspired because there were excellent examples from other experts, international experts in the field. And with a humble, I followed their path at the best of my capabilities. And actually, it's a big honor for me to be here and getting interviewed by you and being considered among people who have succeeded in their profession.
So, being here at the Congress, what are the sessions that have interested you the most? I know you've been presenting as well, but what about the other sessions?
Well, actually, I think that the most interesting parts of nuclear medicine and the session are those who tackle the clinical research in new radiopharmaceuticals and their validation into clinical practice. And especially when it comes to those radiopharmaceuticals with a theranostic potential, which means that we can, as nuclear medicine physicians, get closer to medical oncology and actually make a real impact into the life of the patient and their outcome.
Jessica, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the Congress. And I hope to see you again sometime soon.
Thank you.
Do you know, I really don't think she knows just how brilliant she is. Anyway, the next guest for the show today is somebody that you will definitely know who she is if you attended the opening ceremony today. Kate Sturgis. Kate and I have known each other 35 years, and Kate joined the EANM team this year, so delighted to see you, and I'm delighted to have seen you at the opening ceremony. I was sitting in the audience thinking, this is great, I don't have to do anything. So how did that go?
It was great. It's a fantastic atmosphere in there. As you know, it's a huge room. But the feeling you get from everybody in that room was just so excited to be there and so happy to be there, and it was a great atmosphere. So it was a real pleasure to be there to open the whole thing.
I mean, what I thought was amazing was that it was absolutely jam-packed. We can see the pictures on the screen right now. And, you know, that just is testament to how EANM has grown. I mean, I happen to know, because we know each other very well, that your father would have been 100 years old if he was alive now, and he would have been particularly interested in this topic area, wouldn't he? Can you explain why?
Well, my dad was not only just a very curious person and was so from a small boy, but he was a nuclear physicist and he was an engineer. And he was
a professor, so he was an academic.
Yes, sir. He was head of physics at Loughborough University in the UK. And so he would have been absolutely fascinated by all the technology and where the use of nuclear was taking everybody and the good it was going to be able to do.
I mean, I said earlier on actually in the program that the interesting thing about live events as opposed to online events is the randomness of it. And you met somebody in particular who's a specialist in an area that you have a personal connection with because your dad suffered from dementia in his later life. So tell me about that connection.
Yeah, he did. He actually developed something called Lewy body disease, which is a form of dementia. And as anybody who knows the disease disease knows it's a very devastating one. It's got Parkinsonian symptoms, so he not only had a problem with short-term memory recall, but also with his gait and his speech and his balance. And so really that was something I became his carer. It was quite devastating to watch such a brilliant mind succumb to dementia, but I did what I could for him. And yes, I met somebody here, Sylvia, whose particular interest in neuroimaging and the various dementias, including Lewy body disease. So it was just one of those serendipitous, rather nice circular events.
But isn't it fascinating? When you multiply that by 7,000 plus people, you get more and more of those, and which is why it's almost as though there's a magnetism at events that work, and this is definitely an event that works. You are not finished. I finish in a few minutes' time, actually, so I can just put my feet up. But you've got another role today. You're going to be doing the closing ceremony. Tell us a little bit more about what's going to be happening there.
Well, the closing ceremony is back in that absolutely gorgeous room, the huge room in Hall A. And it's going to be quite short, but it really is a celebration of everything we've seen. We're going to have a couple of awards. We're going to
more than a couple.
We're going to be looking back at what's been going on over the last few days and also looking to the future.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, it's been so fantastic to be working with you because we've worked together on so many projects over the years. So I was delighted to have been able to introduce you into EANM.
No, it's been a fascinating and a lovely group of people, and it's been great to learn about everything.
Yeah, that is what I said. Before we got here, I said, they're such nice people.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Correct.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Kate, thank you. Good luck with later on this morning. That would be fantastic. A couple of things for me to say before we bring this final program to a close. This series of daily programs will be available on catch-up. So we've found already from the analytics, because this is a new initiative at EANM, that a lot of people are starting to use the catch-up service. So what I would suggest you do is not only use the catch-up service yourself. We've got fantastic interviews that we've had over the last few days. But also, please be proactive about sharing with your nuclear medicine colleagues, perhaps even colleagues who are not nuclear medicine specialists, to give them a sense of what is going on, because there is so much happening. So share the links on the social media, on the YouTube channel. That would be great. A couple of thank yous. I need to thank a few people. I want to thank the technical team to start with, ULOS TV. That's Julian, Dominic, and Fabian, who have just been the best. I've worked with these guys for years. They really are the top of the game. Thank you to Kate again. I'd also like to thank my producer, who's relatively new to EANM, Tiffany Trudell. Tiffany, you did a brilliant job. I mean, she'd not done this before. It's a very complex operation, coordinating all of the guests and everything. So thank you to you, and also to Andrea Sismasia. Now, you might not know who Andrea is, but Andrea is the person who puts the whole of the Congress together. So she's the project manager on this. So Andrea, thank you for all of the work you've done, not just for EANM TV, because you green-lighted this and said, yeah, let's do this, it would be a great experiment, but for all the other work. So I would also like to thank all of the participants, not only from EANM TV, but also for the Congress. You absolutely do make this the special event that it is. And what I would say to you as a viewer, keep doing this incredibly important work that you do. Perhaps day to day you don't realize what you're achieving, but believe me, you really are changing the world of medicine. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the Congress, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.